Hello, this is the Ultimate Fan Chat. We are back once again, and we're going to be talking about the results of UFC 226, where we had a new heavyweight champion, now the double champ, creating a new meaning to DC. All right, I'm Chris. We got Dan in the right hand, and then we've got Pretty Pete in the left hand. Oh wait, sorry, Handsome Dan Park. My apologies. All right. So, shall we start this?
Let's do it.
I'm looking at my camera and off. Ooh, come on. Fix that up. There we go. The center again. Okay, so we start this off from the bottom, yeah, with Dan Hooker's knockout over Gilbert Burns.
Tell us your thoughts, Chris.
Well, personally, I was just waking up when this fight was on. So I had the fight going on my phone in front of me. And then, as I woke up, I see Dan Hooker knock Gilbert Burns out. So that's really all I saw. But in saying that, we don't really need to watch the fight. What does this fight mean for Dan Hooker? I mean, it's a pretty big deal, isn't it? Knocking out a guy like Gilbert Burns.
4 victories in a row, all 4 by stoppage. So
yeah.
Jumping up in the rankings, surely entering the top 15 now. You'd hope.
Yeah, well, he's knocked out
maybe the bottom end of it.
Ross Pearson, Jim Miller, and Mark Casey, that's 2 like journeymen or whatever you want to call them, and then 1 up and comer, and now Gilbert Burns. So he's definitely shown his worth. That's for sure. So
you'd hope to get someone in the sort of 10 to 15. So you got Li Quinto who won't fight, James Vick who's fighting Gaethje. He's not going to fight Pettis. You got Alex Hernandez, Paul Felder, Francisco Trinaldo at the
Paul Felder
bottom end of the top 15.
If Paul Felder wasn't in about 1,000 pieces right now, I'd say chuck him up against him.
I think Hernandez is also booked to fight.
Is he?
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe Trinaldo. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't mind watching him fight Anthony Pettis.
Oh, that'd be good, yeah. Or Trinaldo.
But then the thing is,
Trinaldo's always a good fight.
Yeah, Pettis just beat Chiesa, who's in the top 10, so Pettis will be jumping up, obviously. But it would be a good fight. Dan Hooker's on a roll at the moment.
Yeah.
But Pettis wouldn't accept that.
No.
Wouldn't accept fighting,
No, he's at the point now where he just wants like top guys just to further himself. All right. Okay, we'll move on to Curtis Millender versus Max Griffin. And man, this fight went exactly how we predicted. It was just a bigger guy, like just outdoing Max Griffin. He kind of just muscle. Like, I can't speak on a technical aspect like you guys would be able to if you guys watch the fight. But he just seemed like the bigger, stronger guy. He's
very physical, isn't he?
Yeah, he strikes like meant more than Max Griffin. Max Griffin had a good first round taking him down. But after that, Curtis made the adjustments and he couldn't get taken down after that. And then, yeah, he just outpointed him from then on. That's pretty much how that fight went. And Close and Venata. Venata got leg kicked.
Hey, my pick. Hey, that's the pick I got right.
Yeah, man, you got that one right. He got leg kicked constantly, and Venata couldn't spin. And Venata's he's not known for his basic jab or 1-2, and he's not known for his very technical basics. So he just got outdone in that one. And that was 30-27 across the board. So, yeah. Okay, and then we have Asuncao and Rob Font. I'll let Dan take over this one.
Man, you're all over this one, Dan.
Asuncao. Oh, I loved it. Exactly like we thought. Asuncao's going to be in front of Uriah Hall. And exactly like you said, Peter, it's a mentality thing with Uriah Hall. Because after the eye pokes, after the nut shots.
You're saying Uriah Hall, or we're going Asuncao and Rob Font?
Oh, Asuncao, Rob Font. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
I heard Costa.
It's all good.
I heard Costa. I heard a Brazilian name. I was like, fuck yeah,
the juice. Sweet, man. It's all sweet. Juices again.
All right, go.
Rafael Assunção, Rob Font, exactly like we were talking before our chat. We're taking Assunção as a veteran, and Rob Font, he's really technical. He's quite good in a sense, but his biggest problem is after his 1-2s, he's still there. He doesn't move around like we're taught 1-2 move. He doesn't do any of that. So Assunção figured out his timing over the course of the first round. And every time Rob Font threw that 1-2, and he was still there, Assunção would come back, bang. Because you'd watch in the second round, he'd just throw crazy haymakers that he wasn't throwing in the first round. Because he was expecting Rob Font to stay there and to land that shot. And sometimes he did land it, and he knocked the guy down in round 2, got on top, and realized, holy cow, I'm way better than him in ground game. So he completely controlled him while he was top and did the same thing in the third round.
Yeah, it's weird how Assunção doesn't use his wrestling as much as someone with his kind of pedigree you'd think would. Because he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, he has decent enough wrestling. You'd think he'd take guys down more often and kind of control them from there, but he kind of just stands and strikes with a lot of guys. Which it didn't go poorly for him against Rob Font by any means, but you'd just assume that you'd take the fight where you think you could win it a lot easier. No?
Yes, you're right, which is exactly what Rafael Assunção does, in the sense that over the course of the first round, he starts off very slow. He just figures the guy out, just stays right out of range, and goes, okay, what does this guy do? Where can I win, in a sense? And he found that out, which is throwing a haymaker too, and getting on top, in a sense.
Yeah, well, there we go. That's that fight, and that was, once again, 30-27 across the board. It was just... Yeah.
I'd actually like to see him fight Cody Gabriel. I'd actually like to see that fight.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I don't think he beats Dominic Cruz, but I think he could beat Cody.
Yeah, possibly.
I think he can beat TJ. I think TJ's his kryptonite, but I can see him beating Cody. So yeah, it'd be good.
It'd be great.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to what I really want to talk about.
I'll let you open it up, man, because this one gets your juices flowing.
Paul Acosta and Uriah Hall is exactly like what Peter said. Uriah Hall has a problem with his mentality, in a sense, because you could see it in his face after getting eye poked and after getting nut shot twice. He didn't want to fight anymore. He didn't want to be in there. And he hurt Paul Acosta and failed to capitalize. And I couldn't understand why. I think he was just out of it. What do you think, Pete?
I didn't actually watch the fight. I was asleep during the prelims.
I've got a bit of a different opinion to you, Dan. Because after he got hit in the nuts the first time, you could see Uriah Hall wanted to get back at him. Like, he straight away started throwing some crazy kicks. He had a lot more urgency in him after getting hit in the nuts than he did previous to getting hit in the nuts. Previous to that, he was just throwing a couple of jabs, which was touching Costa up a lot. You could see, like, Costa's face was bleeding from the nose and the mouth. And that was purely from Costa walking into jabs constantly, because his striking isn't as refined as Uriah Hall's. But Costa obviously has a lot more power. And in saying Hall didn't capitalize when he knocked, because you're talking about when Hall knocked Costa down, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, because he moved in. He did try and capitalize, but the thing is, when he tried to capitalize, he got caught with the big shots from Costa, and that was the problem. Costa showed that he doesn't need to hit you many times. He doesn't need to hit Uriah Hall as many times as Uriah Hall needs to hit him. And as soon as he tried to go in and finish the fight, what did Costa catch him with? You remember? I don't remember what he caught him with.
I don't remember.
It just seemed like a barrage of shots. He started from the body and then worked his way up to the head, and then Uriah just couldn't handle it and collapsed.
I think this is also having to go down with what Peter was saying in terms of Uriah Hall's, how can I say? Because Costa was hurt, but he was throwing leather, whereas once Costa kind of hurt Uriah Hall, he backed down, while he still had the advantage, really. So I don't like that, in a sense. Yeah.
I still thought Uriah Hall looked better than he has in the past. That was one of the better versions of Uriah Hall we've seen in a long time. I just don't think Uriah Hall had enough to beat someone with the strength and power of Costa.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a great fight.
I like the guy. I love the way he fights in your face, walks you down, bang, bang, bang. My type of fighter, full of juice. Love it. Looking forward to the future.
Right, Dan, who's next for him? Who's next for Costa?
Paul Acosta. I would love to see him against a top 5 guy. Let's take a look. Who's top 5? Who's
top
top five
5,
these days
not
in the
just top
middleweight
10.
division?
Oh wait,
Nah, top 5. I want to
He's
see him
already
against
in the top
Weidman.
10.
Oh shoot, he is too.
I want to see him against Weidman.
Well, Tavares just
Yeah.
lost. Branch is David Branch fighting someone soon?
Oh yeah, David Branch is fighting Jacare.
Jacare. So
Oh, wow.
Kevin
there's no
Gastelum
one.
is going against
Great
Robert.
fight.
Yeah, either Rockhold or Weidman for Costa. I'd like.
I think
Rockhart's
Weidman.
gone up. Rockhart's going up to
Yeah.
light heavyweight.
Weidman,
Yeah.
100.
There you go.
Weidman does make
Weidman.
sense. I was saying to Peter before the chat, I would love to see Romero and Costa. It doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
because he needs to work up. I understand it doesn't make sense, but how cool would that be?
It would be cool. It would be cool. Old juice versus new juice.
Oh, no, can't make accusations.
All right.
But
Let's
it
just
might,
say
it
they're
might, it
both
might be, it could
using
be,
their bikes.
it could be Battle of the Labs, Battle of the
Gotcha.
Chemist.
They both got great bikers. All right.
Yeah. All right. So that's the preliminary fights done. Now we're moving on to the main card where we have Roundtree and Saki, which, well, I'll let you two go on from here.
Go on, Dan.
Yeah, I'm just very sad. I wanted Saki to win. I really did, just for the hype. I wanted a new Crow Cop in a sense. I wanted Crow Cop V2 lightning through, just stand and brawl. I'm just so sad. But we called it. We're like, the only way Saki can lose is through flash knockout round 1. And the more, rounds go in, the upper hand Saki will have because he'll just outclass the guy. And he just got caught. And I can't understand. I don't understand how there's a big skill difference between Saki and Kyla in the stand-up. And he managed to get knocked out. I don't understand it in a sense.
It's the difference. It was a stand-up battle. There was no sort of attempt for the takedowns, but there's always that thought in the back of his mind, of the takedown possibly coming, and combine that with the small gloves. I mean, Roundtree Jr. is very, very strong. He might not be that technically refined, but he's strong and athletic. And he just caught him. Saki threw that kick, maybe slightly lazy, and Roundtree just capitalized with a counter. I like what Roundtree was doing early on in the fight, though. He was not throwing single shots, like just winging single heavy shots and risking a counter. He was throwing everything in combinations to limit the chances that Saki had for a counter. If he was just sort of pot shotting and just throwing one shot at a time, Saki would be able to read that and counter it. Whereas he was throwing the combinations, to avoid the counters, to make Saki think. So I liked what he was doing there. And yeah, he just caught him, really. Saki threw the right kick, countered with a straight right. He did the right thing and he got him. He's just a big, strong dude, and he got him on the button. So, yeah, it is a bit sad. Like you're saying, Dan, it would have been good, if he won. He just gives a bit of life into the light heavyweight division. Someone fun to watch, and it takes a bit of a lot of Saki's mystique away now. I think.
I agree, and true, Peter, you did call it. Chris, you did call it. You're the only guy who called it.
Only guy, and you know why? It's because I had no idea how the fight was going to go because I looked up nothing on either guy prior. That's how I called it, and I'm happy to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Peter, have you? Wait, sorry to cut you off. Have you ever sparred anyone who's like a really good kickboxer in MMA, and have you sparred has no ground game, and have you sparred someone with like a good ground game but like zero stand up?
Yes.
Yes, and it's so weird because it feels really freeing in a sense. Like,
well, you've got your advantages depending on your own style, but in terms of this fight, I just think Saki got caught. Man, he got caught with small gloves by a big, strong dude, and Roundtree is an athlete. He's not. Like I was saying, he's not the most technically refined. He's not ranked, but he's not a bum. He's strong and fast and athletic, and
he's never going to be world champ. He's never going to be champ. He's a journeyman.
Not. I don't know. He's what's his record now? 7-2 maybe, but it's a big win, and good on him. All the best to him.
Yeah, well, everyone gets clipped. Everyone gets clipped.
That's it. Especially early, Saki got caught cold. Maybe if that had happened a bit later in the fight when it was a bit more warm and he's, sort of broken into the fight, but it was only 90 seconds into the fight.
It's true. You can't train your chin, man. When you get hit straight on the jaw, not much you can do.
Straight on the jaw, small gloves by a big, strong dude.
So what do you guys reckon is next for Khalil Roundtree and Gokhan Saki? We'll start with Khalil Roundtree. Who do you think he fights next?
Whoever.
Just anyone? Just a bum?
Anyone.
Give him a top 15. Nah,
top
give him
15?
a top 15. Give him a top 15. I'd actually like to see what's happening. Give him a top 15.
Okay, fair enough. What about Saki? Are there any fun fights you can think of? Actually, before you guys start, I've got a fun one that I think I mentioned to you guys, which won't happen, but I think it's fun. Israel Adesanya, he won on the weekend, so obviously the fight doesn't make sense, but wouldn't that be fun? Two kickboxers who are kind of like of similar size to some extent.
Hey, I'd like to see him fight a heavyweight and fight Mark Hunt.
Oof.
That'd be a fun kickboxing battle.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be fun.
I mean, I'm sure there's guys in the lightweight division from your sort of 15 to 20 onwards that he can fight. Don't give me any wrestlers. Just give him someone like Khalil Roundtree who's going to stand with him and bang.
Yeah.
Bit of fun. Get as much fun out of him as you can while he's around.
Yeah, I agree. Give him another fight.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the next fight in Anthony Pettis and Michael Chiesa. Oh boy, I love this one. I
did
really
not watch
did.
This one either.
Oh, this was great, man. This was Pettis proving again, because everyone seems to constantly forget that he has an absolute phenomenal ground game, or maybe not ground game. He never sees top game, but his guard is just pure attacking. He doesn't just close his guard and hold. He's constantly moving to attack for a submission or get straight back to his feet. Always. He doesn't stop for a second. That's what makes his guard so incredibly dangerous. And yeah, he showed that in this fight. It was just, first of all, Chiesa gassed out in about 2 minutes of the fight. You could see Chiesa's arms were down. He had nothing to do in the stand up. But when he got Pettis down, yeah, it was gassed. And yeah, Pettis just his guard is just so good. He's always moving his hips. He's always got his feet on his opponent's hips. He's always moving out. He's always controlling an arm. He never lets them posture up. That's one thing he never lets anyone do. No one postures up in Anthony Pettis' guard. It's insane. But yeah. Anyways, go on.
To our listeners, please check out our pre-fight predictions for Anthony Pettis versus Michael Chiesa. I called it.
So did I.
Chiesa had no answer. I got one right out of 4. We're pretty happy with that. I said Mike Chiesa has no answer for Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis defensively is very sound. His offense is greater than Mike Chiesa's defense, submission defense. His stand-up offense and defense is far greater than either of Mike Chiesa's stand-up. So Anthony Pettis matches up very well against Mike Chiesa. So, yeah, domination.
Yeah, well, Chiesa, the only thing he had going for him was his size, but then his size kind of held him back in his weight cut, and that obviously hindered him in terms of his cardio. He just didn't have the gas tank to go 2 minutes. He was so tired so early.
The guy got paid $25,000 to fight Anthony Pettis. That is an abomination.
Yeah, but that's because he needs to work his way up, and he's still on that tough contract. That tough contract isn't as great as it sounds.
He was on Ultimate Fighter like 6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, look at Diaz, man. Nate Diaz. He was on the same money for the entire time until he fought Conor.
All right.
So it's just that tough contract, man, that you're stuck on it for so long. And unless you have some really big wins, and depending on when his, because he lost a couple of fights against what's his name, Masvidal and Lozon. So if his contract was coming up during those fights, he can't ask for more money on a loss.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of sucks for him. Yeah, Pettis, man. Oh, it didn't look like the old Pettis, I didn't think, but he still looked like a fantastic version of Pettis. All right, so we'll move on now to the fight that we all got wrong, or one of the two fights that we all got wrong. Wait, Dan, you picked Perry as well, yeah?
I think I did pick Perry, yeah.
Yeah, so Perry and Felder. Pete, I'll let you start off with this one.
Sure. Well, we're talking about in the pre-fight video that we did that if Perry's move to Greg Jackson sort of changes his mentality and his game plan, and he's very capable of winning this fight, and it seems like that's what happened. Felder was hitting him with some good stuff, kicks, punches, a lot of spinning attacks, and Perry kept his calm. Even though he looked like the smaller dude, like you were saying, Chris, he looked physically smaller, but he was a lot more imposing than Paul Felder, which is strange. But yeah, I think it was a very mature performance by Mike Perry. His first decision win, which is a bit of a shock for him. But yeah, I was actually quite pleased with that performance. If I was him, I'd be staying around at Greg Jackson's for a long time. They seem to have got him clicking. I mean, it wasn't the best performance, I guess, but like there's room for improvement. But he's a lot better than his past few performances. So yeah, I'm keen to see who he fights next. Hopefully someone else that will give him a good fight like Paul Felder. It's a shame Paul Felder broke I think it was his hand or his arm. He broke something maybe halfway through the fight. But yeah, I still think probably Perry would have taken the decision anyway. But yeah, still a shame for Paul Felder. Good fight. I don't know if he busted his hand or what, but when he threw that left hook and he hit Paul Felder with that knuckle, the part that wasn't protected with the glove, and just split him open immediately, that was a nasty punch. I like that. That was a good fight.
Yeah, no, it was great. Dan, do you have anything to say about it?
No, nothing
right,
much. Let's move on.
No, I'll jump in. I'll have my part about it. Yeah, exactly what you're saying, Peter. Because I said to you in our predictions that sure he's going to Greg Jackson's camp, but he'd only been there for one fight, so I didn't think it was going to make that much of a difference. But it clearly showed to have a huge difference because Perry, I don't recall him throwing any overhand rights in this fight, and in his past two fights, that was all he threw. He threw a lot of jabs, a lot of left hooks. That's what he cut. That's actually what he cut Paul Felder open with a left hook. And then what broke Paul Felder's hand or arm, whichever one he broke, was the big ass takedown that he did. So all these different things that he did in the fight are what won in the fight. The biggest moments in the fight were when he actually changed up his game. So, yeah. And also, every shot that Perry threw, you could see it made Felder react, like in a big way. But every shot that Felder hit Perry with, Perry didn't really react in nearly the same way. It was just like, okay, cool. Move on. Now I'm going to elbow you back, and yeah. Plus, that fight was a split decision. Does anyone else find that weird?
No, I think. Yes, yeah, that was a bit strange. I thought it was. I mean, Felder had his moments, and it was a close fight, but I felt like it was definitely a Perry decision.
Yeah, I didn't see it being any confusion as to who could win the fight. The right person obviously won the fight, but being a split decision was just. I felt that was kind of weird. All right. Anyway, so that's that fight. Let's move on to the most exciting fight of the card in Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. And ladies and gentlemen, I picked this one. No one else believed me when I said Derek Lewis won't lose in front of his Bay, despite the fact Bay wasn't in the audience. That doesn't matter.
He didn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't know that. So Derek Lewis won via 3 more strikes than Francis Ngannou. What do you guys think about the 10 strikes each that were thrown?
I've got the figures.
Okay, let's hear them.
Francis Ngannou landed 11 total strikes.
Yep.
And Derek Lewis landed 20.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off with Francis on 11.
Yeah, so they combined for 31 total strikes, which is the second lowest total strikes in a 3-round UFC fight in history. In the UFC history.
Do you think you could find how many strikes Tyron Woodley threw in his fight against Damian Maia? Because I know that one was supposed to be super low.
I don't know, because I only saw a list today of 3-round fights.
Okay.
They were beaten by a Jens Pulver fight where only 23 strikes were landed.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so what
These two guys, man, 31 strikes in 15 minutes.
Yeah, with it'd be different if someone got knocked out in the first round and you'd be like, okay, cool, yeah. But yeah, nothing happened. It seemed they were both scared of each other's power.
Well, I understand that from Derek Lewis's perspective, because Ngannou just needs sort of one strike. But Ngannou was just, I don't know. I think Stipe took his soul in that last fight.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, like, there was points like he'd back Lewis up. Lewis would back up, and Ngannou's just bouncing like that in front of him.
Street Fighter.
And the only thing, you're like, what the fuck? Like, but when he jabbed Lewis, you saw how much it bothered him. Every time he'd sting the jab, of the probably 5 or 6 times that he jabbed him, you know, it seemed to really bother Derek Lewis. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, man. It's just, you know what? I think a bit unfair. Dana White was sort of having a go at him after the fight, saying, you know, he believed his own ego and blah blah blah. It's their fault. They built him up like he was some freaking Mike Tyson reincarnated or some shit. You know, he hits harder than the Ford F-150 or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know, but. It's their fault, of course. Like, you know, they pump him up this bad, and he gets all the sponsorships, and then he gets spanked by Stipe. Of course, it's going to knock his confidence down.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it'd be this bad, but geez, yeah, far out. Something wrong with that guy. I don't know.
Well, I heard something interesting today. I was listening to Luke Thomas, and he compared Francis Ngannou to, you remember David Loiseau?
Mm-hmm.
How when he first came in, like everyone's like, oh man, this guy's got all these crazy spinning kicks. He's gonna be amazing. Then he worked his way up to fight Rich Franklin, and then Rich Franklin just beat the hell out of him for 5 rounds with 2 broken hands. And then after that fight, David Loiseau was never the same. No matter who he fought, he never really had the same types of performances that he had previous to that fight. And I don't know, Luke Thomas just said this could be something similar after that beatdown that Stipe gave him. He might not ever be the same.
Man, I was watching the fight, and I was like, I bet you Alistair Overeem wants a rematch right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Derek Lewis, I don't know if you guys heard it, but between round 1 and 2, he's had those back spasms again that have been bothering him in the last however many fights, like against Mark Hunt, and I think, who was that? He was supposed to fight Verdum, and he got pulled out of the Verdum fight. Yeah. That's right, in Sydney, wasn't it? Was it supposed to be in Sydney, that fight? Yeah.
So, yeah.
Between round 1 and 2, so
I think
who knows what the future holds for him, but... Sorry?
I think Tybura took that fight against Verdum instead.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah. Who do you give Derek Lewis to now?
Oh man, that's
because you know what? Derek Lewis, if it wasn't for Brock Lesnar coming, Derek Lewis would probably get the next heavyweight title shot.
I wouldn't argue.
He did beat the number 1 contender. Well, he did beat the number 1 contender.
You could give him Curtis Blaydes. I mean, Curtis Blaydes got to wait for Cormier to fight.
That's a good fight.
Yeah, I don't see. Curtis Blaydes, I think, would win that fight because Curtis Blaydes, like, he gets tagged a lot, but immediately after getting tagged, he goes, all right, wrestling mode. And when he puts on that wrestling mode, it seems no one's been able to stop it.
I would do one of the combination of 3 to get the next title shot. Doesn't matter who fights each other, but either Curtis Blaydes, Alexander Volkov, or Derek Lewis. Pick 2 of those guys, let them fight, and they number 1 contender.
I always forget about Alexander Volkov. I always forget about him. He's a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah.
I reckon give Derek Lewis Curtis Blaydes, and if Curtis Blaydes can beat Derek Lewis, then Curtis Blaydes is the clear number 1 contender. Yeah. That's what, because you don't want to give Alexander Volkov a fight that he could lose, because you want him to work his way up for a title shot as well. You want to turn some of these guys into stars, because you don't want the old guys constantly beating out the young guys, and then you've never got any new stars. So maybe give.
I think Volkov.
Sorry?
Go on.
Go then.
I think Volkov is ranked higher than Derek Lewis.
Volkov's number 3. Curtis Blaydes is 2. Derek Lewis is 5, but he'll jump ahead of Overeem now.
Yeah, he'll jump ahead of Overeem.
You know what I'm doing if I'm the UFC with Ngannou? Ngannou versus Mark Hunt. Bang.
Hey,
that'd be fun.
Actually, you know what I think you could do? If Junior Dos Santos wins his fight next week, I think it's next week. I think give him to Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because that way, if Alexander Volkov wins that, then you've got another star, because he's beat a legit former heavyweight, another former heavyweight champion, because he knocked out Verdum as well.
Yeah.
So I
reckon Mark Hunt and Ngannou. Mark Hunt will force Ngannou into a fight. And either Ngannou will get knocked out, he'll either get knocked out, or he'll knock Mark Hunt out. I think that's a fight where someone will get knocked out for sure. Because Mark Hunt will force him.
Do you think Mark Hunt would take him down?
Yeah, Mark Hunt.
Because he's so low, you grab those legs.
That leaping left hook.
Oh man, that leaping left hook. Was that the one that knocked out Stefan Struve?
Yes.
That was awesome. That was.
You're right. Mark Hunt forces a fight. He's not gonna just stand there.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. That's that. We've worked out who they're gonna fight next, and yeah, we don't really understand why they didn't do too much. We understand why Derek Lewis didn't do too much, but we don't understand why Francis Ngannou didn't do much. In fact, did less.
I think we hit the nail on the head with Ngannou. I think he's just mentally not. I think he believed he believed the hype, and he thought no one could touch him. And not out of nowhere. I mean, they blew smoke up his ass majorly, and he got beaten like that. And I'm sure lots of people fell off the bandwagon. A lot of people that were around him sort of went away from him, and that's probably played a part in his mentality change.
But look at Brendan Schaub. He was on the big Francis Ngannou hype train, and then straight after that fight, he's like, "Yeah, I didn't know he didn't do any wrestling or any cardio. I didn't know he was that
10
shit."
minutes after the fight.
Yeah, it's like Jesus, man, don't throw him under the bus.
And that would have played a massive toll on him.
Yeah.
All right, main event time.
Oh, here we go. So Daniel Cormier defeats Stipe Miocic via KO in the first round. Oh boy. Who wants to start this one off? Okay, go ahead.
Go, Peter.
All right. My takings on the fight. All right. Both were doing well early. Stipe was landing the 1-2, like we were discussing. DC was closing the distance and throwing the shots in the pocket, like you guys were saying. I don't know. To me, it feels like watching it. I think Stipe maybe might have thought DC would be easier to get out of there than he thought. And he felt a little bit too comfortable sort of trading in the pocket with him. Now, the eye poke definitely would have sort of stuffed him up. But I think that it was just a tactical error on his part. If you watched the post-fight interview DC did with the UFC on Fox team, they were saying in the lead-up to the fight, they'd studied a lot of tape, and they noticed when Stipe breaks away from the clinch, he puts his hands down. He separates, hands down, and backs away. And that's exactly what they caught him with. DC had the overhook. Stipe went to circle away, dropped the left hand, bam, right hand came over straight in the button, and he was gone. Those follow-up shots weren't even necessary. I mean, I thought DC's going to throw him, but they weren't even necessary. That fight was over as soon as he landed that right hand, which made me very, very sad because I was watching it actually on the way to corner some amateur fights, and I was watching it on the phone, and they're in the clinch, and it lagged, and then the next thing I know, DC's on the cage celebrating, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And then I saw the replay, and I was like, oh, man. But yes, yeah, good work by DC, I guess. Hopefully Stipe can bounce back, but crazy performance.
He'll definitely bounce back. Anyway, go on, Dan.
I was so happy. I was crying. I was so happy. I was so happy for DC. He's such a great guy, and he just...
I love DC. I never understood the hate on DC. I feel like now there's like, people are on board with DC, but I never understood the hate in the first place.
It never made any
100%.
sense.
And I loved him calling out Brock Lesnar. Get in here. It was so good. Brock Lesnar shoves him. Did not expect that.
How shit would you feel if you're Stipe, right? You've just got knocked out. You've just lost your title. And in comes his freaking doofus and he's like, Stipe Miocic is a piece of shit. Oh, man.
And Francis Ngannou.
One thing,
he also said Francis Ngannou.
He was probably gone by then. What I love, though, the best thing, right, it was obviously clearly set up. But the only person, I've seen a picture of it, right? The only person who didn't realize it was set up was DC's coach, that little guy. He was like 5'4", right? There's a photo of him running up and pushing Brock Lesnar. And every single person around him is like this, like so happy that Lesnar's just in the cage. And this guy's the only dude that's like, oh, shit, I'm going to help DC. Pushing Brock Lesnar out of the way. That was the best.
Oh,
that was the best.
You got to find that photo and send it to me, man. I haven't seen that.
It was so good. Everyone, everybody in the cage knew. And you know what I feel bad for Stipe as well? He just missed out on a massive payday because DC's going to make bank in that Brock Lesnar fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, big time. Yes. DC, he played that so well, the way he
but you know what?
Brock Lesnar out.
What I don't even care about, I'll watch that fight for sure. That's, good. But, man, I want to see DC and John Jones 3 at heavyweight.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it.
It changes the narrative a bit because I think DC brings... The thing that DC brings at heavyweight that it doesn't bring at light heavyweight is the power.
100%, yes.
It's hard. And
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, like his coaches were saying, he just hits, and his sparring partners, he hits noticeably harder heavyweight. I didn't think he looked in great shape. He looked a little bit pudgy, but man, the results showed. The results showed.
Yeah, well, at heavyweight, he's never
100%.
been known to look very good at heavyweight. In all his Strikeforce fights, and then when he came over to the UFC and fought Frank Mir and Roy Nelson, he looked. That was the joke. The joke was like he did that Popeyes ad for the Popeyes chicken. The whole thing was that he was a chubby dude. But so yeah.
Well, see, I thought his game plan was going to be to try and take Stipe down and just smother him with that extra weight, but no.
Well, he probably was going to try to do that later on in the fight if the opportunity came along. It seems
Hey, if Stipe got him down, told you guys.
Yeah. Well,
it's a fight. It's not a wrestling match. It's a fight. And DC fucking won. No.
Oh man, but in the clinch, it really did seem as though Stipe's size was making a huge difference because he was able to push DC up against the cage and he was using minimal effort. He wasn't pushing his legs weren't bent. He wasn't leaning into him. He was kind of just standing up straight, pushing DC, while DC was trying to work for the underhooks. And DC was struggling to get the underhooks.
It was too comfortable, Stipe, I think.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Well, he probably felt the fact that he was winning the wrestling game a little bit and just assumed he would win the striking game.
Yeah, because even before the knockout, DC was marking him up with the shots in the pocket, the uppercuts and the hooks.
Yeah, every shot that he hit, every shot that landed, you could see Stipe's face starting to get marked up. It was like, ooh, okay, he's starting to land now. This is interesting. One thing I did love about the finish, though, I love the finish because the one thing that I noticed at the beginning of the fight and the way Stipe seemed to be winning was he kept on winning the underhook battle. He constantly won the underhook battle, and before the end of the fight, Stipe had the underhook in that clinch, and then you saw the way DC swung his arm all the way around, got the underhook, and then moved Stipe's body into him, and then landed that overhand right. So he kind of moved him into the overhand right at the same time, and it was just so beautiful and unexpected, because as we spoke about previously, the thing that DC always used in the clinch, which Dan spoke about in the previous chat, is the uppercut. He constantly pulls him down into the uppercut, which was something that I personally didn't think he was going to be able to do, because Stipe is a much bigger and stronger individual than the guys he's fought at light heavyweight. But he made the adjustment and thought, okay, maybe if I can't pull him down into the uppercut, get the underhook, and move his entire body into the overhand right, and it just, oh man, it was just so cool.
It sort of reminded me of the finish to Dan Henderson and Shogun too.
Shogun, yes, I was about to say that.
The second fight, yeah.
I need to watch that again. I remember the uppercut that Dan Henderson landed, but I don't remember how that got to the ground.
Same sort of thing. He had, I think it might have been an overground ground hook, and he sort of swung Shogun and just bang into the right hand. I think it was. But, Lesnar next. Is Lesnar next?
Yeah, Lesnar next.
Next.
DC did
Big
say
size difference.
DC did say that if Gustafsson can do something in his next fight and kind of build it up a bit more, he will take that. But I don't see that happening because they made no money. In all the pay-per-views that DC's done, he made the least money from that fight, and that was the hardest.
I think, I think DC will fight Lesnar, and that's it. Because they can't fight. When did DC say he's retiring? April or something like that?
DC's going to be retiring in March. His birthday is the 20th of March. I only know that because it's 2 days before mine.
Brock Lesnar can't fight until January.
Yes, yeah, correct.
And I don't think he'll fight Gustafsson because I don't think he'll risk losing the Lesnar payday.
Yes.
Because it takes a lot of the shine off it if he gets knocked out or loses and then goes to fight Lesnar as well. So I think he sits out 6 months because Lesnar's is in the process of re-entering, or he's just re-entered the drug testing pool. But he's got to serve the rest of his suspension.
He entered a week ago, according to Dana White.
Yeah. So he's got to wait. He's got to sit out the rest of his suspension. So yeah, January. So I don't think DC's going to fight again. I mean, realistically, he fights Lesnar. He makes as much in that fight as he does to fight John Jones and Gus again, and it'll be easier than those two fights probably. So.
I agree.
That being said, if he implements the same type of game plan against Lesnar, he'll knock him out. But if it turns into a wrestling battle, it could be very difficult for him because Lesnar is a bull and just massive. He's huge.
Can you implement the same game plan against someone like Brock Lesnar? Because winning the underhook battle against a guy like... If you're struggling with Stipe, how are you going to win the underhook battle with Brock Lesnar of all people?
Well, that's the thing. It's not like DC can stay on the outside. He has to get in close with Lesnar, and it's gonna result in a clinch of some sorts at some stage.
I think it's a more interesting fight than a lot of people are probably going to give it credit for. Like
I want to watch it.
Well,
I would rather watch him fight John Jones again.
When Lesnar came back and fought Mark Hunt, everyone was writing Lesnar off, saying there's no way he can win this. But it's like, do people remember what he was before he got beat up by Overeem and Cain Velasquez?
No. I thought he was going to beat Mark Hunt because Mark Hunt is not good against wrestlers.
No, I think he was just too big and bad stylistic matchup for Mark Hunt. But I don't know. I said I don't see how DC is going to beat Stipe and knocked him out. I just don't see how Brock Lesnar is going to beat him unless he gets. I mean, there's only one way. He'll get on top of DC and just pummel him to death. But I don't know.
Well, keep in mind his
I actually got Brock Lesnar over DC.
Well, well, there we go. Well, I'll touch on that in a second, but keep in mind, Cain Velasquez is DC's teammate, and he's already beat the living daylights out of Brock Lesnar. So there's already.
I think he's got more physical tools, physical tools that are applicable to that fight than what DC's
yes.
got.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree because Cain's obviously the bigger person, so he was all being like much smaller than Brock Lesnar still. Although. In saying that, DC still weighed in a lot heavier than Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, but there's a big difference. Sorry to cut you off. There's a big difference between weighing bigger and having a bigger frame. Like Stipe weighed less, but he had a noticeably bigger frame than DC.
Well, that's what we were saying in the last chat when we were talking about the weight.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, go on about. So you think Brock Lesnar would win that fight? Go on, explain how.
I'm not saying. I think Brock Lesnar would win that fight. I can see Brock Lesnar winning that fight, and I actually have Brock Lesnar more than DC because I was really impressed with Brock Lesnar's performance against Mark Hunt, and I wasn't too impressed with DC's. Like before starting to tag TB on the first, he was very noticeably afraid of the power. And he was like doing some really weird as.
That's how he fights, though. Yeah, DC always does that. That's how he fights, that side to side.
Watch his Ozdemir fight. He fought the Ozdemir fight the exact same way, reaching out with his hands, like touching the gloves, and then just moving his head in weird directions.
And the thing is, Lesnar will offer almost nothing on it. I mean, if Lesnar hits him, if Lesnar lands on him clean, it could get him in trouble. But he offers not much on the feet, especially nowadays. I mean, back in his original run, maybe he offered a little bit more, but I don't think he offers anything on the feet to DC.
Lesnar's very similar to this may not be a very good comparison, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it anyways. Frank Mir, in regards to the fact he doesn't. It's not that he gets. Well, Frank Mir does get knocked out, but Brock Lesnar doesn't get knocked out. He just doesn't like to be hit, and he
succumbs to the punches.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Yeah.
Because he didn't get knocked out against Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin landed some serious punches on him. But he just doesn't like being hit.
It's the accumulation of punches, and he just curls up, and he's never unconscious. But
Cain Velasquez didn't knock him out. He just laid a very pressurable beating on him.
It would be amazing to see either of them just pick the other dude up and just slam them, though, wouldn't it? Especially if DC picks Lesnar up. Wouldn't that look freaking sick?
Oh, like Josh Barnett. That'd be so good.
That would be so good.
Like I said, I would love to watch. I want to watch the fight. For DC's legacy, it'd be nice to see him go out fighting John Jones again at heavyweight. Because I don't think they need to fight again at light heavyweight, but it just adds to the narrative if they fight the third fight of a trilogy at another weight class for another belt.
I definitely agree with that. I know that he's lost to him twice. Technically, if you want to, the second fight got overturned. But I do think that Daniel Cormier is a different. He's a lot better at heavyweight. So you put John Jones...
And I'd like to see John Jones at heavyweight.
Yeah, we haven't seen John Jones at heavyweight. He might be 1,000 times better at heavyweight. But I think that DC has shown that one of the biggest things that he has at heavyweight that he doesn't have at light heavyweight is that power.
Oh, yeah.
Because he hasn't done anything like
John
that.
Jones.
Yeah, he was. And John Jones took those shots. But could he take those shots?
I think John Jones got an undershot chin as well.
Oh, yeah. John Jones got a great chin. But could he take those shots at heavyweight? Maybe. Maybe he can. It's just an interesting question.
Chin.
Sorry?
Stipe has a great chin. Like, if someone's going to land clean on you on your chin, you're going to go out.
Yeah, I think if DC hit anyone with that shot, that would have put him out. That was a nasty shot.
Yeah, that was straight on the chin. Like, you saw Stipe's head just kind of wobble sideways when he got hit on the chin. It's just like, oh man, that's the off switch right there. So
Alrighty.
I was going to ask you guys a question. Okay, so say DC and Jones fought at heavyweight. do you think the result would be any different?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think
I
so.
don't know.
And do you think
I think
that fight will happen?
Probably not. I think
Maybe.
he fights Lesnar and retires.
That would be ideal. I'd prefer to
If
see that happen.
he sticks to his plan of retiring by 40, he just fights Lesnar. But if not, if he has one more fight, if he beats Lesnar, I can see him fighting John Jones at heavyweight and then retiring.
Yeah. So he's gonna. Do you reckon?
Yes.
Do you think he'll retire with both titles?
Nah, I think he'll have to vacate light heavyweight.
Well, there's nothing happening at light heavyweight right now. So Dana
Yeah,
Dana
that's
actually
true.
said.
Hopefully they don't
he can-
strip. Hopefully they don't strip him.
Yeah, hopefully not, because right now, what are they going to do at light heavyweight? Give the title to who?
Gustafsson, who's like 1 and 2 in his last 3.
Yeah, we'll quickly have a look at Gustafsson.
Excuse me.
All right. Where are you, Gus? Mr. Gus. Wow. Yeah, he's 2-2 in his last 4, and he's I guess 3-3 in his last 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Gus, he's obviously the next best guy under DC in the light heavyweight division, but he hasn't really.
I see
done
Gus
yet.
winning the rematch. I see Gus winning the rematch against DC.
I see Gus getting knocked out if he fights DC at heavyweight.
He's too lanky for heavyweight. Because he's not cut at 205 either.
I'm just saying, in the hypothetical world
Yeah.
of if that ever happened, I would say that DC at heavyweight would knock him out, because he would get him into the
Yeah.
same. Because that entire fight between Cormier and Gus was fought in not the entire fight, but the majority of the fight was fought in the clinch, and he kept on pulling the head down and uppercutting him. Like, I don't think he could take those same shots if they fought at heavyweight.
Nah.
Anyways, all right, we'll just end this on one more question, because we're at 45 minutes right now. So just quickly.
Go on.
All right, so we posted on the Facebook page the question of the GOAT. The GOAT question. What is your opinion on the GOAT?
I have
Get, like-
3 letters. 3 letters for you.
I know they are. Go.
The first letter is G. The second letter is S. And the third letter is P. That's your answer there. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Anderson, I'll give him the flick. Cheater. Fedor is up there, but just quality of opposition, we'll put it down to, right?
Yeah.
He's up there, though. He's in the discussion, obviously.
Yeah.
Demetrius Johnson, again, he's up there. I think he's technically probably the best guy that's ever fought in MMA in all aspects. But in career-wise, in terms of GOAT, I just think GSP's is more impressive with the variety of guys he's fought. You know, kickboxers, wrestlers, jiu-jitsu guys that mix it all together. And in terms of longevity, I mean, when did GSP win a title? When he was like in his mid-20s, and he just won the middleweight title at 37, you know? How many guys do you see doing that? Not many. So it's GSP for me.
All right. Dan, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Go for it, mate.
Can I say one more thing? Sorry, one more thing.
Alright, go on.
One more. If DC had beaten John Jones, then I would say DC.
Yeah. Well, that's the John Jones cloud is the one big thing
Yes.
hanging over Cormier's head.
To me, he's a legitimate light heavyweight champion and everything, but just
Yeah.
the loss to John Jones puts it.
Yeah.
An
no, that-
unavenged loss. An
that
unavenged loss.
That does suck. But the one thing for Cormier, like, I don't know if he is like it's hard, as we were saying previously, like before the chat, it's hard to name a GOAT because it's just, you're never going to be able to put every fighter up against one another and find out who would win. So it's kind of a weird argument, but just in terms of achievement, I feel as though Cormier has put himself out there to achieve a lot more. He fought in the heavyweight Grand Prix, won that. Then he came over to the UFC, fought at heavyweight, fought a former champion in Frank Mir when Frank Mir was still, he wasn't in his prime, but he's kind of like on his way out, so he's still pretty good. He was coming off a win to people like knocking out Krokop and flipping Roy Nelson onto his head. So he was coming off the loss to JDS, but yeah, so DC came in, fought at heavyweight, fought the better heavyweights that the UFC had at that particular time, and then obviously moved down to light heavyweight because his teammate was the heavyweight champ. And then he went down there, worked his way up to a championship shot, lost to John Jones, but then John Jones obviously went away, and then he won the championship. And then after that, he's defended his championship. And then obviously he's lost to John Jones. John Jones pissed hot. That doesn't count. We're gonna scribble that one out. And then he went and defended the championship again against Ozdemir. So he's already defended his championship. I think it was 3 times. Then he moves up to heavyweight. And now he's won the heavyweight championship, and he's holding both at the same time. That's something that GSP held the title at 37, 4-5 years after relinquishing the welterweight title. But
well, see, that's why I think GSP's, because GSP, talking about putting himself out there, GSP put himself out there much more in a much more risky manner than DC. GSP hasn't fought in 4 years. Comes back to fight at a heavyweight class. If he had got his ass kicked, then people would say, GSP was never that good. GSP this, GSP that. He put himself out there, risked everything, and beat up a champion at a higher weight class. And also another thing, why I think GSP, not only he's avenged his losses and he avenged them brutally, but he beat guys from one generation to the next. He started, guys like BJ Penn and Matt Hughes, the old guard, going through your John Fitches, your Thiago Alves, Josh Koscheck's and all that, Nick Diaz, up until the new breed of guys like your Johnny Hendricks and stuff. So that's why I think I like the longevity of GSP's career and the fact that he put himself out there at middleweight.
Yeah, in terms of saying that he put himself out there, I feel like fighting Michael Bisping, losing that fight, he had a lot more excuses, having 4 years off prior. Maybe he was a little bit rusty, or going up, he put on too much weight. I felt as though if he lost that fight, it wasn't really as risky because of that time that he had off previously.
That's how people remember the guy. He was the champ, he was a world better. Yeah, he comes back and he gets his ass kicked. He's been out for 4 years. But it's still sort of, it's like guys like Chuck Liddell. They are world beaters, and then they get beaten up, and all people remember, I remember the last time he fought, he got the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Yes, and to go back to that point, what you were saying about before with Fedor Emelianenko and quality of a position, he fought the best guys that heavyweight offered at that time.
He did, but I mean, how many guys did he fight that had like no fights in MMA or barely any fights?
Yeah, you're right. There are a couple of times. However,
Fedor went through the can crushing machine. He went through that a numerous amount of times.
I'm not on the spectrum, like that end of the spectrum where I say, Fedor was, a complete can crusher. Yeah, he beat good guys. He beat the best guys at the time. Pride had the best heavyweight division at the time. I just think when you compare it to a guy like, he's up there for me, top 5, pound for pound, somewhere, wherever you want to put him. But I just think number 1 is GSP, just based on the factors that I discussed. I just don't think Fedor is number 1, that's all.
Okay.
But he's up there.
Yeah, just going back, you're right. He fought cans, and he also fought the best guys. So can crusher, yes. Fought the best guys, yes. So I think Fedor, in terms of heavyweight he is the GOAT for heavyweight. For welterweight, going back to legacy fighters, for welterweight, 100% GSP. And something that Peter said, which I completely agree with, is longevity. He fought guys from completely different eras and still, was on top. I agree with what Chris was saying in terms of coming back and fighting Michael Bisping. Yeah. I don't think he would have challenged the middleweight title if Chris Weidman or Luke Rockhold or...
Probably not.
Yeah, agreed.
Or Yoel Romero held that title.
No way. Yeah, no way.
But then in the same sense, if you're saying Fedor fought the guys that were available to him, Michael Bisping was a champ at the time when GSP was like the alpha.
So I completely agree with you.
Keep in mind, Anderson Silva, he had every opportunity to fight Anderson Silva and constantly said that he doesn't want to fight. Yeah, he had every opportunity. He kept on saying that if he put on that weight, he could never come back down.
Wait.
Yep, go on, Dan.
Sorry to cut you off. But I agree with your comment in sense of he fought Michael Bisping. However, he still did come back and win and beat the champion. He still did that. And after 4 years. And I think being smart about it is one way about how you become a GOAT. 100%. So I agree with Peter. GSP, 100% welterweight GOAT. So the legacy fighters that I see as GOATs are Fedor at heavyweight, GOAT. Anderson Silva at middleweight, GOAT. GSP, welterweight, GOAT. And for present, I see, what's his name? how could I forget Demetrius Johnson? To me, he's the GOAT on the current timeline.
Yeah,
He is the best. Excuse me. He is the best ability-wise, I think, of anyone.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Ability-wise, he tops the rest. It's just in terms of achievement, he hasn't taken that next step to I'll go up and fight the division above, or I'll take on challenge.
Small.
He is
He's
too small.
But
DC is technically too small as well to go up to heavyweight. He's 5'11" and fatty as hell.
Okay, have you seen Demetrius Johnson fight Dominic Cruz? There's a fucking huge size difference.
Exactly.
There's a big size difference.
And there was a huge size difference with Daniel Cormier and not weight but
it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's
not the same. DC has that power to knock people out. That translates well. He didn't translate that well when fighting Cruz. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, even if he lands his best shot, bar a spinning back kick or a crazy knee, it's going to be hard to knock the other guy out. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I 100% agree with that, but I think that just shows how, why that DC is even better in terms of moving up, because his abilities did translate to heavyweight, whereas Demetrius Johnson's doesn't translate to bantamweight. They're very specific for that one weight division.
Yeah,
but that shouldn't be a knock on him. That shouldn't be a knock.
It's not a knock on him. It's not a knock on him in saying that he's not a good fighter. It's saying that he is a great fighter. And if everyone was the same size, he would probably beat them. But if someone was a little bit bigger, then he can't beat them. Whereas someone a little bit bigger than DC, he can.
But then the thing is, when you're fighting at that light heavyweight thing, it just takes one touch to the chin to put guys out. At the smaller weight class, guys are a lot more durable, so there's also that. But I think, I don't think necessarily a guy has to change weight classes to be considered.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
I think it certainly helps.
I agree with Peter.
I think
it does,
but doesn't necessarily.
It does, but let's say you've got a guy at, let's say middleweight, Anderson, right? He never went up and won a title. He beat Bonner and Griffin and James Irvin, right? At light heavyweight or whatever it was. Is Conor McGregor better than him in the GOAT discussion because Conor McGregor won featherweight and lightweight title?
No. And we should, even though we're running a bit over time, we should touch on the whole Conor McGregor thing, because Conor McGregor never defended either one of those titles. He never defended before going up a weight class. He just got the title and ran away with it, and then fought for the lightweight title and then ran away with that. So that's.
I mean, he very well could have defended him many times, but he didn't. So that's what we got to play with.
We will never know. So we can argue whether he would or wouldn't have, but he never actually did it. So that's completely irrelevant. Whereas Cormier has defended his light heavyweight championship, and he's already immediately made plans to defend his heavyweight title. So I obviously it's against a pro wrestler, but still. It's cool.
I take John Jones out of discussion as well because of the cheating. And,
yes, I'm the same.
And Anderson Silva?
Oh, yeah, Anderson gone straight away.
No, I don't take Anderson out.
We had a few people on Facebook saying that if you fail a drug test, that shouldn't take you out of the GOAT conversation. But what would your argument be for that?
Cheating.
But can you elaborate on it for people that are just going to say, but it shouldn't matter?
So let's say, right? Let's say you're running a 100-meter sprint, and I've won countless world titles and blah blah blah, but I'm busted for drugs. You can't prove that I had it every single time I won an Olympic gold medal, but the asterisk is there. I'm a cheater. You know?
No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you.
You wouldn't still consider me the fastest man on earth if I broke the world record, but one of the times I was racing, I cheated. Or, for example, if I broke the world record, I was busted for drugs, but when I won the Olympic gold medal the last two Olympics in a row, I wasn't busted. There'd still be an asterisk on that.
Well, you look at someone like Lance Armstrong, who was never busted, but he still lost his entire legacy.
He was never actually busted.
Yeah.
Why isn't he not the greatest? He's a cheater. He's cheating.
And it doesn't matter that everyone says that everyone else in the same races were cheating. Everyone else was still on the same shit that he was. He was just better at competing with that stuff. But it doesn't matter. He's still taking out the conversation.
Peter has a great point, which I completely agree with.
He never agrees with me. He never agrees with me.
I hear this so much, I get embarrassed.
If everyone else wasn't using, Here's the thing. You know, like Lance Armstrong? Lance Armstrong is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. Why? You go back to the, second, third place, whatever place, to give the medal to the next guy who hasn't been busted cheating. You're looking at number 20.
Yeah, I think it was the 16th guy or something like that.
Well, number 16 is the GOAT then.
In one particular Tour de France, yeah.
Pretty much every single, no, I wouldn't say every single, but the great majority of athletes, high-level athletes, especially in combat sports, soccer, Olympics, have all got a good bicycle in a sense. They've all been using their bike. That's my view.
All right. I feel like we're touching on dangerous territory here. So in all this, I think we'll end it. We know who's. Wait, we never touched on Stipe. We've forgotten Stipe, just like Joe Rogan forgot Stipe. So
it hurts to talk about
it. Who's he fighting next?
It hurts.
It hurts to talk about, but who do you think he'll fight next?
Actually, you know who I'm giving him?
Year off. Yeah, go on.
You know, I'm giving him time off.
Yes.
Maybe start of next year. Maybe even on the undercard of DC and Brock Lesnar. Give him Derek Lewis.
That'll hurt.
Yeah, you could do that.
Give me Derek Lewis.
For me, I'll say if JDS loses and then he won't go on to fight Volkov, I think that puts Stipe against Volkov.
Yeah.
Because to work his way back to the title, he still needs to fight a contender. He can't fight anyone out of the top 5.
Well, Derek Lewis will be top 5 now.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Sorry, he would.
Yeah,
be.
Derek Lewis. Yeah. But then the thing is, see, he fights either one of those two guys, and the other guy fights Curtis Blade for number 1 contendership. I reckon.
Yeah.
There you go. Easy fix.
Done. Dan, who do you think? And don't say you agree with Peter.
Give him the year off. So see how the heavyweight, plays out. Let the other guys fight it out, and give him the winner of the number 1 contender. I'd say, not the winner of number 1 contender. Give him one of the winners.
All right,
someone has to wish it. Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. So with that, I say we end it. Before we end it, I want to say thank you to everyone on Facebook for following us. That's been great. I think we got up to 60 followers on Facebook in a day. So I thought that was really cool. Maybe to some people it doesn't mean a great deal, but I appreciate it. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And just make sure if you like the video, just press that little like button at the bottom, subscribe to the page, and press that little bell button so it notifies you of every time we post up a video. So thank you very much, and peace out, homies.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.